Welcome you all again for the thermodynamic lecture series. So in this today's lecture we are going to discuss about some properties of pure substance and also some important characteristics curve for your to understand the properties of pure substance like your PV diagram, PT diagram, TV diagram and HS diagram and so on. So before getting into the lecture we need to know about what is meant by the properties of pure substance. So for that first one we need to know about at what conditions we are going to discuss about the properties at what level. Okay, so here in a thermodynamic approach we are going to discuss about the macroscopic properties. Okay, so the macroscopic properties we are going to discuss about here, and also what is meant by a pure substance. A pure substance is nothing but your chemically homogeneous mixture. We are having your pure substance. Okay, so it should be of your chemically homogeneous mixture, then it should be of your pure substance. Then also phase, we need to understand this term phase. The phase is nothing but it is physically a distinct one. Okay, so it should be a physically distinct, but in all the three phases. Okay, so if you have considered a 3 phase or 4 phase, any phases. Okay, so at all the phases the component should be chemically homogeneous, then that substance is said to be of your pure substance. Okay, for example you can take water. Okay, so water is composed of your hydrogen and oxygen molecule. Okay, so it is in ice phase. Okay, so it is in solid phase as ice, it is hydrogen and oxygen. It is in water phase. Okay, so when it is in water or liquid phase, for example it is water, it is in liquid phase, their composition is also hydrogen and oxygen. Then it is of steam, they are having your vapor phase, it is also a presence of hydrogen and oxygen will be there in case of your water at 3 phases. So all the 3 phases it should be have the satisfy the 2 condition. First one it will be of chemically homogeneous, and second one it should be of yours physically distinct, right? For example you say about air. Okay, so what about air? So in air consists of oxygen and nitrogen and a gaseous phase, but you condense those air, the chemical composition will vary. Okay, so we cannot say air is a pure substance. Okay, so water is of about pure substance here. Okay, then we need to know about your phase rule of your pure substance. Okay, so we are having different types of characteristic curve, and also we need to know about a property. We need to know about this phase rule. Okay, so why this phase rule is important? Okay, so if you need to derive one point or derive one state, okay, derive one state of a system, okay, derive one state, we need to identify the 2 entities. How many variable to represent a state we need to understand. Okay, so for that we are going for your phase rule, Gibbs phase rule. Okay, so the Gibbs phase rule will give the number of independent variable. Okay, so the number f is number of your independent variable, and p is the number of phases present in the equilibrium, and c is the number of components. Okay, for example here the number of phase. Okay, so the number of phases is 2. Okay, so here the number of phases will be 2. Then what it will happen? So if the number of phases is 2 and the number of component is 1, so consider a water. So water is a one component, and phase we are having 2 phases. I am considering only 2 phases. Water is converted into steam. The 2 phases is there. Then we can write F plus 2 which is equal to 1 plus 2. That is F plus 2 which is equal to 3. Then we are having F is equal to 1. That is the number of independent variable will be 1 in this of case. Okay. So as we all know about steam, just this is a little introduction. So water is converted into steam beyond its boiling temperature, right? So the water is heated at 100 degrees Celsius. Okay, so 100 degrees Celsius is your saturation temperature, but it is not exactly that. That is 99.6 degrees Celsius at 1 bar pressure. At atmospheric pressure it is about 100 degrees Celsius, right? So at atmospheric pressure, the 100 degrees Celsius, the water will get boils, and we have addition of their more heat, that is the addition of your latent heat. Again at 100 degrees Celsius it will be boils, and it again changes into liquid to vapor. Okay, so that vapor is known as your steam. So here the formation of steam we are going to understand. So for that we need to know about the 2 terms. First one is sensible heat and second one is your latent heat. So what is your sensible heat? The heat required to rise the temperature of the unit mass. Okay. Then latent heat is the heat required to convert a solid to liquid or liquid to vapor without changing its temperature, the phase change will occur in terms of your latent heat. Let us consider the example. You take minus 5 degrees Celsius of ice here. Okay. Then you give some heat and temperature. Then what it will happen, when you heat this ice, then it will becomes it comes under 0 degrees Celsius. Okay, so it comes under 0 degrees Celsius of ice, right? Then that 0 degrees Celsius of ice will converted into 0 degrees Celsius of liquid by giving your latent heat. Okay, so here in this latent heat you observe this, there is no change in temperature will happen. There is 0 degrees Celsius of ice will be converted into 0 degrees Celsius of water without rising its temperature. So this heat is called as latent heat, and this process is called as latent heat of fusion. So further you are going to heat that water. Okay, so further you are going to heat that water, that is 0 degrees Celsius of water you are going to heat. We all know that the boiling temperature of water at atmospheric pressure is 100 degrees Celsius. So since 100 degrees Celsius, the water will moves on here, and it has the same phase. It is of about your liquid phase. Then if it reaches 100 degrees Celsius, then it becomes water. Okay, 100 degrees Celsius of water, it goes to boil. But giving your additional heat, that is latent heat, we are going to give at constant temperature. Here 100 degree Celsius of water will convert it into 100 degrees Celsius of vapor. Okay, that is steam. In here this latent heat is added here without changing its temperature. Okay, so this process is called as latent heat of vaporization. Beyond that steam is heated, then the so saturation temperature, the phase change temperature corresponding to your saturation pressure is known as your saturation temperature. Then your saturation pressure is nothing but your pressure at which the liquid boils, where your given temperature is known as your saturation pressure. Boiling point, as we all know, what is meant by boiling point? So boiling point is nothing but it is a temperature at which the liquid starts to boil and it changes from the state from a liquid phase to vapor phase, then it is called as your boiling point. And your melting point, it is a temperature at which the solid states to change its phase from solid phase to liquid phase, then it is known as your melting point. As I explained earlier, the amount of heat added, that is the latent heat, is added here to change the liquid phase to vapor phase. The liquid phase, that is water into steam, that process is known as the latent heat of vaporization. Then we need to know about the characteristic curve. First one, we need to know about what is meant by a PV diagram of a water. Okay, so here in x-axis we are having a volume and y-axis we are having your pressure. Here what happens, from the process 1 to 2, you keep on your process 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. Okay, so 1 to 2, what is the process 1 to 2 is? In the process 1 to 2, we are the saturated solid will converted into liquid. Okay, so this is your saturated solid point. It will be converted into saturated, these all saturated liquid lines. Okay, so these are saturated liquid line. You consider only one point, you consider only this line. Okay, so consider only this line. So first point is your 1 to 2, this is your saturated, first point it is saturated solid, and your second point it is your saturated liquid line. Okay, saturated liquid point. Then since it is a constant pressure process, so we have to draw the straight line here. Okay, then process 3 to 4, what is the process 3 to 4? Again the process 3 to 4 is, again it will get a saturated liquid level. Okay, so process 2 to 3, what it will happen, the ice will convert it into liquid. The 2 to 3 is your saturation point, T saturation. Okay, so that we have discussed in the previous one. Okay, that is the latent heat added at that point. No, so that point is called as 2 to 3. Then 3 to 4, both are the saturated liquid states. So in the state 3 is liquid saturated with respect to solidification, whereas in the state 4 the liquid is respected to your vaporization. Okay, again your 4 to 5 is of your vaporization state. Okay, this 5 to 6, again this 5 to 6 is your superheated steam. So this is your saturated liquid line and this is your saturated vapor line. So at atmospheric pressure, at 1 bar pressure, they can draw the line like this. Okay, so they can draw the line like this. And at the second pressure, they have draw a line like this. And at the third pressure, they have draw the line like this. How we can get this dome-shaped curve means, they have joined all the saturated liquid points and saturated vapor points. We have to draw one line. That point will be of your saturated vapor liquid line dome curve. So in this curve, beyond left side of this curve, this will be of your solid state, and here we are having liquid plus vapor region. Here we are having at all this point, it have both the combination of both liquid and vapor here. Okay, so beyond this curve we are having a vapor region here. So below this region you are having solid plus vapor, right? Then saturation curve on the PV diagram. So here at a reverse process you should observe. So in the previous process we are having heating. So here you consider in this line I am going to cool the process. Okay. So again I am going to cool. So since it is an A to B, cool the vapor, superheated vapor, I am going to cool it out. Okay. Then what it will happen? It becomes a liquid stage. Okay. So it becomes a liquid stage. That liquid will get off your. Again it will be condensed, again it will be cooled here, and then it will be going off your solid state. That process is of A, B, C and D. Here is also the line will be, both the C and D line will be almost vertical. Okay. Then we should know about this critical point. What it will happen at this critical point, directly this solid will convert it into vapor. Okay. The solid will convert it into vapor at your critical point. Okay. Then PT diagram for a pure substance. So here we are going to draw a pressure temperature curve. Okay, so pressure temperature curve. So here is also you consider 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6 points. Okay, as we all know 1 and 2 it is our solid conversion, solid to liquid conversion, and this 2 to 3 where this latent heat is added, and 3 to 4 it is liquid state. So liquid to liquid is getting heated, 3 to 4 liquid is getting heated, and this 4 to 5 point what will happen, this liquid will be, that is water will be converted into vapor and some latent heat is added. So this is your saturation point. So 4 and 5 is saturation point, 2 and 3 is saturation point, and 6 is your superheated point. So you connect all the saturated lines here, pressure and temperature, all the saturated lines here. So this is your solid region and this is your liquid region, this is your vapor region. Okay, right. So here we all know this is your vaporization curve and this is your fusion curve. Okay, so the fusion curve, the latent heat is added to convert solid to liquid is latent heat of fusion. The latent heat is added to convert water to vapor is called as a vaporization. That latent heat is known as your latent heat of vaporization. Here this is your sublimation curve. Okay, so all the meeting of these three coordinates is called as the triple point, right? This is your triple point. The vapor pressure of the solid is measured at the different temperatures, and these are plotted on the sublimation curve will get obtained. Okay, the fusion curve, the vaporization curve and the sublimation curve meeting point is called as your triple point. Then we have a PVT surface. So in the PVT surface we are merging the diagrams. Okay, so we are merging the PT diagram and your PV diagram. So here you observe the PV diagram. So PV diagram, so here you observe the pressure, this is your solid and liquid line. Here solid will be converted into liquid, this is your liquid vapor and it will get superheated. What they have done is all the saturated points, here is also all the saturated points they have marked and they have made a line, but this is a 3-axis curve. If you see from this direction, okay, so in this direction you observe temperature. Okay, so you go for TV diagram, what it will happen, the temperature will get increased. So this is your temperature will get increased like this. So it is a combination of 3 diagrams to understand, easy understanding of the specific entities, right? That is, this is the major macroscopic property we are going to derive in the properties of pure substance. These are all the 3 macroscopic properties, that is pressure, temperature and your specific volume. Then your TS, we have to draw about the TS diagram for your pure substance. Okay, so again temperature and entropy curve is there here. So for example, a minus 5 degree Celsius will get heated up, it will convert it into 0 degree Celsius of ice. Then this 0 degree Celsius of ice will be converted into 0 degree Celsius of water. Then this water will be getting heated and it will goes off your 100 degree Celsius of water, and again the latent heat will be given, then it will be of course of your 100 degree Celsius of water and superheated stage. Okay, so you consider here this is 1 atmosphere, 2 atmosphere and 3 atmosphere, we can draw another one line, 4 atmosphere we can draw another one line. In the similar way we can proceed. Okay, so you can mark all the points, all the saturation points, 2, 3, 4, 5, you can mark all the points. Okay, then you can draw the curve like this. This curve is called as your saturation curve on TS diagram. So at this point is a critical point. Here the pressure is constant, since it is a constant pressure process. Okay, then we are going for the saturation vapor doom of a water. Okay, so here what they have done about in the TV diagram, they have drawn a constant pressure lines. Okay, so at the critical point is 374.15 degrees Celsius, it is directly converted into vapor. And also we need to see about the difference between your fluid and a gaseous stage, that is denoted as SFG. Okay, so this is your saturated fluid line. Okay, so the entropy at your saturated liquid line, this is your specific entropy at your gaseous stage. So the difference between these two is SFG. So this can be written as SG minus SF. And also we are having HS plot. So in the HS plot, we observe that in the 1 to 2 process, we are having the increasing slope. Okay, so we have the diagram like this. So in this we are having increasing slope. If we draw the slope between 1 and 2, we are having an existing slope. But in the 2 to 3, we are having a horizontal line. Okay, so in the 2 to 3, we are having the horizontal line. The slope is constant, so there is no slope exhibits, right? And in the 3 to 4 also the same process, the slope will have exhibit. Okay, so like this. For example, here you see 5 to 6. Okay, so 5 to 6 is your increasing slope. This is your increasing. 5 to 6 we can draw slope like this. But this 4 to 5 we can draw slope, right? Then we are going to merge HS plot. We have to go draw the HS diagram. So in this HS diagram, we are immersed this HS diagram. We are having the isobars. We place the isobars here, and also the same diagram we have drawn here. So this is your saturated liquid line, and this is your critical point, and this is your saturated vapor line. Okay, so this is your saturated vapor line. So in this unit we are only concentrating about liquid to vapor mixture, so don't worry about your solid to liquid in this case. But in this way the solid will be converted into vapor. So this we need to understand, but we are going to concentrate more on liquid to vapor, because steam is the substance we are going to use further in an application process. Then this is your final enthalpy and entropy diagram. So this enthalpy and entropy diagram, this is your saturated liquid line, this is your critical point, and this is your saturated vapor line. And this the point where here the point will be observed, in this point is HF. Okay, the specific enthalpy at your liquid line, and this is your specific enthalpy at your vapor line. So the difference between these two is your enthalpy difference, that is HFG. So in this between, they can observe between both liquid plus vapor region. Okay, so this is your constant temperature lines, and this will be of your constant pressure lines. So this is your constant pressure line, and this will be of your constant temperature lines, right? So these are the lines that will exhibit, and also constant volume lines, specific volume lines also available in your enthalpy entropy diagram. So this is your actual Muller chart we are going to use in a further problems. Okay, so this chart is taken from the R.S. Kurmi steam table, right? So this is your critical point, this is your saturation line. Okay, so below this point the steam is wet, in this point the steam is superheated. Okay, then we need to know about quality or the dryness fraction of the steam. Okay, so that is, in 1 kilogram of the liquid vapor mixture, how much? Okay, so how much the mass of the vapor, that is 1 minus x kg of the mass of the liquid is present. That is, x is nothing but the ratio between the amount of the gaseous vapor present in the total mixture. That is, x is equal to mg divided by mg plus mf. This mg plus mf can be written as m into t. X is your dryness fraction, mg is your mass of vapor or gases, and mf is your masses of your liquid. Then we need to find out the state of the steam. For that, m is equal to, we know that the total mass is equal to mf plus mfg, right? So and the total volume can be written as vf plus vfg. Okay, so this total volume can be written as mass into specific volume. So I am applying this equation here, mass into specific volume, to here also. So mf into vf plus mg into vg. So in this equation we know we can write this mf can be written as m minus mg. So replace this ms as m minus mg. Okay, and divide this m to hold this right hand side, then you will get 1 minus mg by m into vf plus mg by m into vg. Okay, what is this mg by m? Mg by this total mass is nothing but your dryness fraction x. So we can replace 1 minus x into vf plus x into vfg. So you can multiply this, you can get vf minus x into vf plus x into vfg. Then for my convenience I am taking out x outside, so vf plus x into minus vf plus vg, and rearranging this term you will get v, specific volume v is equal to vf plus x into vg minus vf. So as already explained in the diagram, so this Vg minus Vf can be written as Vfg, right? So V is equal to Vf plus x into Vfg. So in the similar way, we can derive the equation for specific enthalpy, specific entropy, and specific internal energy. Then we need to know about the superheating and the subcooling. Okay, so when the temperature of the vapor is greater than your saturation temperature, the temperature is greater than the saturation temperature, then the temperature is said to be superheated. Then the vapor is said to be superheated. This is your superheated temperature. This is your saturation temperature of the vapor. So beyond the temperature, it is called as your superheated temperature. Okay. Then the difference between the temperature, the difference between your saturation given vapor temperature and the saturation temperature, then it is called as your superheat or degree of superheat. Okay, so here that is T1 is, so in this from the diagram, the T1 is your superheated temperature and T saturation is the saturation temperature. So degree of superheat can be calculated by T1 minus T saturation. And second one is subcooling. So before getting into the subcooling, we need to know about the compressed liquid. When the temperature of the liquid is lesser than your saturation temperature. So this is your saturation temperature. So when the temperature, given temperature is lesser than your saturation temperature, then it is about your compressed liquid. So that is, in this case, it is T2. And then this is your T saturation. So we can find out the degree of subcooling by T saturation minus your T2 in this case. Then quality of the steam we need to understand. So first one is your wet steam, dry steam and superheated steam. So wet steam is the heat is partially evaporated, then heat water particles present in the suspension is known as wet steam. That is, some amount of wetness is present in the steam is about your wet steam. And it is a dry steam, it is a fully evaporated, there is no water particles exist in the state is known as a dry steam. For this we are having three different conditions, that is wet steam, dry steam and superheated steam. So for that, how we can find out these three different types of quality of the steam? For that, if the given specific volume is greater than your saturated specific volume, then the steam is superheated. The given specific volume which is equal to your saturated specific volume, then the steam is about dry. Then the given specific volume is lesser than your saturated specific volume, then the steam is wet. Then this all the cases will be same as applicable for your entropy and enthalpy. So before getting into the problem, so we need to know what is the state of the steam. Okay, so there is the condition of the steam or the quality of the steam we need to identify. So for that, we all know that they are having three different conditions or quality of the steam is available. The first one is wet steam, and second one is dry steam, and third one is your superheated steam. Okay, so how these qualities are classified? Okay, so these classification, how these qualities are classified is detailedly explained in the previous lectures. If you have any doubt, you can go through the previous lecture. Okay, so just I am recalling that. So if we say the given specific enthalpy is lesser than the specific enthalpy of saturated vapor, then it is called as a wet steam. Okay, when a given specific enthalpy which is equal to saturated specific enthalpy of vapor, then they are called as dry steam. Okay, so here x value which is equal to 1 here. Okay, then if we say it is a superheated steam, then the specific enthalpy of the saturated vapor is lesser than your given enthalpy. Okay, so this will be applicable for your specific volume also. Okay, for instance, so the given specific volume is lesser than the saturated specific volume of the vapor, then it is called as a wet steam. When the given specific volume and the saturated specific volume of the gas which is equal, they are called as dry steam. When the saturated specific volume of the vapor which is lesser than your given specific volume, then it is called as your superheated steam. Okay, since the same condition will be applied for your specific entropy also. When coming on your temperature, we should say it is a saturation temperature. Okay, so we all know what is saturation temperature. So at this point, the phase changes will occur. So in this saturation point, the given temperature is lesser than your saturation point, the steam will be of a wet steam. Then your given temperature which is equal to the saturation temperature, then it is a dry steam. Then the saturation temperature is lesser than your given temperature, then it is known as the state of the steam is your superheated steam. Then, so based on the qualities wet steam, dry steam and superheated steam, we should know some of the basic properties and how to use the formulas for your basic properties. Okay, so first one is your specific enthalpy, the unit is kilojoule per kilogram. If we say the steam is wet, the condition is the given specific enthalpy is lesser than that of your saturated specific enthalpy, then H is equal to HF plus X into HFG. Okay, where H is your specific enthalpy at liquid stage. Okay, so this is your combination of both, so liquid and gaseous vapor. Okay, so X is nothing but your dryness fraction. Okay, what is meant by dryness fraction? That is the amount of, that is the mass of vapor present in the total amount of the steam. Okay, so that is mg by mf plus mg. Okay, it's equal to mg by mf plus mg. Then if we say dry steam, I already told that x equal to 1. You substitute your x equal to 1, then it becomes hfg. Okay, so hfg can be written as hg minus hf. So plus hf and minus hf will get cancelled. Again the term will be h is equal to hg here. For superheated, so h is equal to hg plus cp, that is the constant pressure of the superheated temperature values. Then your T superheated minus your T saturation temperature. The difference between your superheated and saturation temperature. For specific volume, again for a wet condition, V is equal to Vf plus X into Vfg, and for dry steam it is V is equal to Vg, and for superheated steam V is equal to Vg into T sup by T saturation. And also for your specific entropy, S is equal to Sf plus X into Sfg, where S equal to Sg. Here for superheated, S is equal to Sg plus Cps of log into the ratio of T sup by superheated temperature divided by your saturation temperature. And also work done. So we also know that the flow work is equal to P into V. So that is work done is equal to P into V for all the three cases. But this volume, the specific volume will be varied according to these three different conditions. And also know the specific volume is instead of the reciprocal of your density, or otherwise density can be written as 1 by your specific volume in all the three cases of your quality of the steam. Then the specific internal can be determined by H is equal to U plus PV relation. So with this we can write U, specific internal energy U is equal to H minus PV. So this H, the specific enthalpy and the specific volume will be depend on these formulas. What are all the state of the conditions? So corresponding state of the conditions, the internal energy will vary, but the formula for the internal energy for all the three cases are same. Okay. Thank you.